The one thing that I did not talk about yet for this title, I don't know if they're gonna get it this year, where it's almost time for September, and by the time y'all see this, we'll probably be in a new month anyway. For September, we'll see if we get a reveal at some point, because September 12th was the day that from 2022 was when we first got our first look in our official reveal for Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3 from this game about over 2 years ago. And the one thing I did not mention was the costumes and things that they could possibly do. And in this video, it probably won't be too long, but I wanted to just really start talking about some of the things that they could do for these racers beyond just unlocking them and beyond the characters themselves. Maybe some of these actual different alter egos and different versions of characters that they have, or these different personas that they take on, can be ideal costumes for these characters. And as y'all see from the design, the 5 different characters, just as an example for a nice little design, and some ideal costumes that people might want to end up seeing for some of these characters. And the one thing I was gonna originally do, is try to make a giant costume list of costume ideas for all the racers in the game, of what they could possibly end up looking like. So I'll probably just name some of them, just for some examples. Let's see if I can try to bring it up. But just new costumes for these characters and these racers, and I did some of them, like different characters that I'll be able to probably name. I didn't do them all. I don't want to just make it too long of a video, but just something, for example, like these, just for starters. And I'm also going to talk about what they could do for unlock conditions. How can we unlock these new costumes outside of just playing the game and trying to win a race online and having that pressure of, well, the new match is going to start, you're online racing against someone and you're taking on several opponents. You got someone that's been playing the game for quite some time that you'll probably never catch up. They know the ins and outs. They got the best kart parts and combos and the best setups and the best parts for their kart or their bike. You'll just never catch them, and they might have a better character than you, or a racer that you probably don't have unlocked yet, and they know some secrets that you don't know of. And you just will continue to lose every single time, and you'll never be able to win. So I came up with my own unlock conditions for what they could possibly do for these particular characters, like, and for costumes and just new unlockables for bonuses, and even different characters like Human Jenny, for example, that y'all see from the design. That could be something that could be a costume. But before we start talking about some of the characters that I did some of them. I'm not going to list them in the description or anything, just some ideal costumes that could work for some of these characters. I did some of the racers, but not all 42 characters, because it would have been a giant video. But just something for people to just be able to get the idea, because look at these characters. Eastman or Laird Raphael should not be a separate character, because he's no different from the original Raphael. And then also Purple Reptar, for example. These are just color palette swaps. These are just different colors of both the original OG Reptar. What's the difference between the green and the purple one? This one is the real Reptar, but this one is just purple. He's no different. You see how the stats are just the same? They didn't even bother changing the stats for some of these characters. And if they were gonna be separate characters or separate racer slots, at least make them sound, not only just look different from the color, make put in the additional effort of changing the stats to make them differentiate, have some kind of difference for some of these characters, instead of the same animations, the same voice lines, and it's just a color swap, or just a palette swap. These should have been costumes, and these are the perfect examples of what I wanted to start with this discussion video for costumes. What's some of the costumes that y'all want to see for these characters? These characters should not return as playable characters if we get a new game. I'm not sure when, I'm not sure how, and I'm not sure which dev team will decide to pick it up for Nickelodeon Kart Racers 4 at some point. If we don't get it this year, or maybe in the future, these should be costumes. I'm surprised they didn't even think about trying to add costumes for some of these characters, considering the fact that it's 42 characters in this game that exceed some of those other crossovers, like Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, for example. There's tons of characters that's in this game that can have really cool costumes, and these are just the beginning. I think this is something that I think a lot of people might want for some of their favorite racers, where you could be able to unlock some of these costumes. But let's start talking about some of these ideas and what kind of costumes would I give some of these characters. And I just wanted to start with the basics, just for a little bit of something, just for a couple characters and ideal costumes. So I came up with some for SpongeBob, Patrick, Sandy, Squidina, and the TMNT. So just for my little list, but I'm not going to list these or anything. Just like I mentioned, these are just some ideal costumes that they could probably be able to add, that I think a lot of people will be interested in, especially if you favor some of these characters, whoever your favorite racer could be. And you can share some of the costumes that you will want to see. Maybe you're looking for one particular character or one particular racer suit. They can also call them alternate costumes for these characters for some of your favorites that's in this game, or maybe someone that's not in the game yet. You can also be able to share what you would like to see, because I know some of y'all who are Zuko fans out there that would like to see him with his ponytail and maybe the blue spirit, for example. You know, Avatar State Aang, and then his different costumes that he wore with his Fire Nation disguise. That could also work for Aang. It goes on and on and on for so different kind of costumes. Link and Lao for Ace Savvy, and I already talked about Human Jenny. Maybe even Jenny can have the other versions of the XJ9 of the XJ series created by Nora Wakeman. What do you guys think about that? Instead of having them be separate racers, but some people might want them to be separate characters. But let's just start talking about some other ones in a minute that I mentioned, like SpongeBob, for example. The Quickster is something I would like to see. It made it in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, so I'm sure that could probably be able to get in. Doodle Bob, maybe some of you guys might want to have him as a separate racer. And then something that I did with Camper SpongeBob that y'all about to be able to find out with Patrick. Instead of having Camper SpongeBob be a separate character, or some people say clone characters, Camper SpongeBob could be a costume. He can be taken out instead of being a playable racer. He was fun to play. I like both of these, but at least they actually different, and they see how they sound different, and their stats are completely different. See, look at it. Look at the stats. The stats are different. His turbo stat goes down significantly, but then when you play as Camper SpongeBob, his turbo increases. And then with SpongeBob, his handling is different. And then their speed, the acceleration is the same. The acceleration is stationary and completely remains the same. And then the weight of the character is different, obviously. And then the speed. SpongeBob is faster than his camper self, but he has better handling and his turbo is greater. See the difference? They should have did something like that. And then on top of that, his animations, his voice lines, all that stuff goes hand in hand. That's what you're supposed to do. So just continuing on, I selected Camper SpongeBob as an ideal costume, as a new alternate costume. And then some other ones. His Krusty Krab hat, he could have his Band Geeks outfit from that awesome episode, one of my all-time favorites. And then when he went to Pearl's prom with his dance suit, that'll be something cool too. I don't see many people bring that up. I'm surprised that didn't even make it as a new costume for All-Star Brawl 2. But they got plenty of options that they can add in for SpongeBob and Patrick having loads of costumes. Patrick Star, I just went with Elastic Waistband, Boy Patrick, and Barnacle Star that are also in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. And then Blindbeard the Pirate. Patrick Smart Pants. What do you guys think of that? And just like I said with SpongeBob, Camper's Patrick, I turned him into an alternate costume. So instead of being a playable racer, they could turn him into, this could be an alternate costume that could be unlocked. And we're going to get into the unlock edition soon. I'm just sharing some of the costumes I came up with. Sandy, I came up with Miss Appear. We're going to run through these. Miss Appear, and then I added her sports basketball jersey from the sports episode. because this was also in the first All-Star Brawl when she didn't get cut. So they can add that. And then Squidward, for example, his Band Geeks outfit, Squilliam Fancy Son, Squilliam, his rival, will also be fun to see as a separate racer, but maybe with his own lines, his own voice lines, Squilliam versus Squidward, that they can renew their rivalry and settle it once for all. You know, settle things. But I turned Squilliam into a costume. That'll be nice. What do you guys think of that? That's what I was kind of hoping they did for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. Squilliam will be a nice little costume, and then his Squidward's painter outfit, and then his Viking costume that's also in another crossover game that's already out. Just some ideas. And then for Squidina, just to wrap up, just some of these. We're going to start talking about some TMNT costumes, and then we'll talk about the unlock conditions soon and more I want to say about this for some ideas. Squidina K-Star as her who is her prehistoric counterpart that I found out. I just did some digging to try to find out some ideal costumes. Maybe some more people out there might have some ideas what Squidina could wear if she makes it back. But some people don't think she's probably going to make it back, which I don't think she would either, as cool as she is. But then, last but not least, we didn't want to just run through all 42 characters, you know what I mean? Let's start talking a little bit about the TMNT. I don't think JoJo's going to come back at all. But that's why I kind of stopped it there. And just some of the characters, you know, from this particular role, this character's probably not going to make it back, especially her. It's crazy. But anyway, going forward to the TMNT, for Leonardo, Mikey, and Donatello and Raphael all together, instead of just Raphael having his Eastman skin by himself, I gave them all, Leonardo, Mikey, and Donatello, their Eastman layer Costumes, and then I also went with their Playmates costumes, which contains heavy metal Raphael, punker Donatello, rapping Michelangelo or rapping Mike, and movie star Leonardo. So I thought those would be something that they could add for their Playmates costumes that I think people will really like. And they can also maybe potentially add in the TMNT 2012 skins, because I think a lot of people out there are huge fans of the TMNT 2012 TV series. What about those different eras for the TMNT getting added? Those can be unlocked, and even if they're not available right away, they could come out as costume passes that they can have for sale to make some money. See what I'm saying? So it could be able to benefit the developers. That's another good idea. 2003 is one of my top favorites for TMNT. Also like 2012, and I like these that they have. But they can have different sort of eras for the TMNT. And a game I want to bring up as a reference, TMNT Shredder's Revenge. If anyone out there has played it, you see how they have those different TMNT skins. Those are ideal, and they can pull from that game directly to be able to make them unlockable skins for the characters, for the Ninja Turtles, for the TMNT, and so on and so forth. But now I'm going to just start talking about the unlock conditions that I think everybody would really enjoy. And the reason why I wanted to go into the garage, so you see the slime tokens, because in the garage I already have everything unlocked, of course. But in the garage for this game, you had to unlock some of these characters. And just remembering, some characters like Sandy was locked in the garage, Camper SpongeBob and Patrick was in the garage, Michelangelo, and then we already had Leonardo unlocked when you first start playing the game. Raphael and Donatello was locked behind the time trials with some big secret, and then 80 wins for the arena for Raphael. That was just so grindy. And then just with some of these characters, just like I mentioned, with Michelangelo, Camper SpongeBob, and Patrick, Sandy, and Toph was also in the garage, and many other characters were locked in the garage. You had to use your slime tokens, see the currency. Why not be able to unlock some of these costumes with using the slime tokens or slime coins? Maybe even a new currency they'll probably bring out, but I'm sure the slime tokens and slime coins will probably make a return. I don't think they're going to do any sort of new currency. maybe like racer currency slime that you have to collect. You know what I mean? So for the unlock collect conditions for these new costumes and racer suits for some of these characters, even for Danny Phantom, he could have evil Danny, dark Danny, and things like that. They got different options. But when, for my little idea, you play a specific character several times to unlock a new costume for the characters. This is just some ideas for the unlock conditions for some of these racer suits or these alternate costumes, instead of just forcing the player to try to win and come in first place all the time 24/7 online, when that's impossible to win. Every single race you're gonna lose, and then when you lose anything less than first place, it's not gonna cut it, because you're not gonna be able to get anything unlocked. And it's gonna get stressful just trying to win when you go up against players that you just never will be able to catch up to, and they're not gonna let you win free. But I thought, as one of the unlock conditions, you could play a character like Jenny Wakeman, for example, like Human Jenny, or maybe just with A Savvy for some of the Laos costumes. See how Lucy Lau has some really good costumes in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2? Well, her eights of spades costume, for example, that could be brought back in Kart Racers 4. That could be unlockable for Lucy Lau fans. And then with A Savvy, for example, I just wanted to just mention this. You could play Lincoln Loud several times to be able to unlock costumes, or some of his costumes, and then maybe even possibly winning a certain amount of times with that particular Nicktoons character with others. So if you wanted to get Squidward's Band Geeks costume, or just Camper Patcher and SpongeBob, that could be new alts instead of playable racers, as a nice idea to save space and also include more new shows and characters that deserve to get in, things like that. And then with some of the Rugrats, I went with all grown up Tommy, so Tommy Pickles can get in, and then he could be able to unlock his all grown up version when you play a certain amount of characters, or just do like a certain challenge instead of just winning online. Winning a certain amount of times with Tommy, for example, as a particular example, you could be able to unlock more of his costumes and other stuff. And then since I'm in the garage, or as I mentioned, you could be able to spend some of your slime coins in some of the shop. So some of those other costumes, maybe that's ideal, like all grown up Tommy Pickles, for example. He's not going to be in the garage. They can put him behind some other unique challenges with Tommy, where you have to play him a certain amount of times, where you don't have to win all online. You could just be able to play and win offline, or just play and use the character. So you have to, and I wanted to throw this out there. It'll allow the player to invest time into the character instead of playing the same character over and over. They'll have to invest time into maybe someone that's probably not a big fan of Cindy Vortex over Jenny Neutron. If you want to get her Supergirl outfit or her skin, because they added his M-Man skin or his M-Man costume in All-Star Brawl 2, if you wanted to unlock her Supergirl costume, you will have to invest some time and play Cindy Vortex quite a few times, to really be able to unlock certain costumes with certain characters. So it'll encourage the players to be able to explore new characters and give other characters a shot, instead of using that one racer or that one or two characters that they only use and everybody else gets left out. They get play time also. So to be able to get these costumes, so each costume can cost a certain amount, with others requiring a little bit more of a challenge or more playtime to be able to unlock some of these costumes. Now, something else that I wanted to throw in here as a bonus that I thought would be pretty cool. What do I want to use? Let's use Reptar, for example, for this as we wrap up. How about new gold legendary skins for each playable racer, where you can earn this gold plated skin? You see how purple is purple? Imagine if you love Reptar. Reptar is pretty cool and a great character. He's extremely fast in this game. Imagine a gold Reptar that's shiny and full of bling, sparkly, shiny. Or what if I just say pretty sparkly, shiny thing or something like that? I forgot what he said. But it could be a shiny gold Reptar for legendary skins, legendary racer costumes, or legendary gold skins for each playable racer, where you can earn these from completing all the Grand Prix Cups with your favorite character. So not just trying to go the easy route and play on easy mode, challenge yourself and try to defeat the AI that's going to be challenging as you advance throughout the Grand Prix up to the Insanity mode, because they go extremely fast and really catch up to you with item madness on, rubber banding and things like that. It'll be a major challenge to try to get those gold icon skins. Not saying come in first place in every single race, but just being able to finish the Grand Prix in the winner circle in first place to be able to win the cup. So as long as you win the cup, you'll be able to get that gold Reptar, that gold SpongeBob. Kind of thinking about, I'm not gonna lie, I'm thinking about Mario Kart vibes a little bit. See how they got gold Mario and things like that? I don't know, I forgot how he was unlocked, but they can do stuff similar for multiple of these Nicktoons to be able to have these gold legendary skins, a gold Rocco, and they can play around with the designs where they can look really different. You know, gold Reptar with red eyes or something like that, bright red eyes, and they could really change it up. You know what I mean? Gold Arnold with his hat being gold and things like that, just sparkling up. I was trying to see if we had something. Let me see. Yeah, we don't have anything that was gonna look similar to it. But look, just see how it could be a little bit brighter than this fishbone. See how it's shining? Look. See just the middle part from the bite? See how it's like shining? And with that lighting, it's perfect. Put that on one of these, put that on a racer and just make it gold. And make it a big challenge for some of these characters and people to be able to play. They will be able to invest time. It'll give players something to do. And also, outside of just playing online all the time, it'll give players time in investing time into an actual grind where you don't have to be online. You could be able to get these alternate costumes and be able to unlock these characters and different alter egos. You know what I mean? The ultimate enemy, for example, to be able to unlock those alter egos and different skins and alternate costumes from playing the game and investing time in these characters. We're not just stuck playing the same characters over and over. People will definitely really like this idea. I think that'll be something that they can do for some additional things. Something I would want. They don't have, even if they don't have gold skins, but these are just more ideal. So players are not just coming online. And let's bring this last point up. You don't want to just be coming online. There's nobody else playing this game. There's nobody else playing the game because you're trying to find someone online. You know what I mean? You try to pick a character and, you know, you got the DLC. Let's just use Zuko, for example. You got the DLC. I got Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. Try to see if you play online this weekend, and then you're not going to be able to find anybody. It's just going to put pressure on the player, and you just don't want to have unlock conditions for none of the characters or none of the unlockables to be exclusively locked behind online conditions. That's just not the way, because it's just going to look like that. So that's just some ideas I wanted to throw out there, since we haven't even talked about costumes and racer suits that they could possibly classify them under, and they will actually be able to tell you how to unlock some of those characters in those alternate costumes when you have them highlighted in the garage. So there's not this big secret and just trying to play a character over and over, or a free race, or a cup, or a Grand Prix over and over, just hoping that you get something. Just by luck, and just hoping that you're getting it. You're gonna get the character. I'm gonna get that reward if I keep on playing and playing and playing, when you're not gonna be able to know. And it's just that big unknown of not knowing how to get some of these characters and some of these skins. So they'll definitely need to add that as well. But let me know some of y'all favorite costumes, and maybe some of the costumes that you would add for some of these characters. Maybe some of you guys can share, you know, some other racers that probably will have some cool little costumes if they get in. So we still got a lot of missing characters that can get into this game, We don't know if we're gonna get the title, if anything, but it's just some additional ideas that they can do to bring improvements to the next title.